Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another beautiful day with us on Live with Lloyd. I am your host, astronumerology Lloyd Strayhorn, astronumerologist Lloyd Strayhorn. Well, there we go. At any rate, this is a money month. We're in an 8 universal month, which is about money and finances. And this is going to be a money and financial week. And my very first guest you see on the screen is Miss Porcha Cooper, who is a money mindset coach. Okay. That's what her thing is about. She's having a workshop on the 7th of this month at the end of the week, which is why I've invited her back on. And so we will do that. But in the meantime, let me do this, folksies. Okay, here we go. Okay, there we go. Okay, I'll get this straight in a minute, folks. Oh, let me do this. All right. Okay, I think I've done it. Yep. Anyway, I do want to thank everybody for joining me today. I do want to say hi to a couple of special people, which is, hold on. Here we go. All right, there we go. This is my guest. But before I bring her on, I need to focus on our sponsors, of course, things of that nature. But I do want to thank you very much for joining us this evening. La Porcha, or La Porcha, she's called. She's something else. Trust me. She. Wait till you see. Have a pen and paper to take some notes. I'm going to have some questions or whatever. I'm sure it's going to be very helpful. But before we do, I do want to give this day a salute to this gentleman here, John Patterson Green, who is the father. He's not considered the father. He is the father of Labor Day that he initiated in the Ohio legislature back in 1890. 4 years later, Labor Day became a national holiday. And to his credit, this is the gentleman that is the founder of Labor Day. Get that out the way. Okay, good. Now, the show is brought to you by Nicholas Brooklyn at 1396 Fulton Street. You need to go there. You'll see both Monique and Kafunya at the same time. So especially if you got some questions about crystals from Kafunya. Also, Ms. Kimberly, Manifest on Purpose, her podcast every Monday and Wednesday morning. Sponsors the show. I thank her. Also, Visit Islam with his supplements, his wonderful supplements. I mean, they're very dynamic. And definitely you subscribe. And by the way, when you go order, you can put in the code numbers and you'll get a discount, a 10% discount. And of course, my good buddy King Simon is getting closer. I remember we started in the summer, but on the 13th of October, he is going to pay a tribute to Baba Dick Gregory. Before we start, I want to let you know that my show, Live with Lloyd, or me personally, will never DM anybody for money. There seems to be somebody trying to copycat and trying to part you with your dollars. Please don't do that. That's not my style. So pass it on to your friends or whatever the case is. But today is Monday. It is September the 2nd. And the moon is in Virgo. The sun is in Virgo. The moon is in Virgo also. So it's a new moon when both the sun and the moon are in the same sign at the same time. It's an 8 universal month, a 9 universal week, a 1 universal day. Those under the signs of Leo, Aquarius, and the Aries, or if they're born on the 1st, the 4th, the 10th, the 13th. I see I left that out. I left out the 19th, the 22nd, 28th, and 31st of the month. I'm going to get this right one day or another. But anyway, I do want to thank all of you. But more importantly, I just want to now introduce my guest because we are going to be talking about the subject of money. And hi, how you doing, Porcha? The Porcha?
Oh, doing well, Lloyd. What about yourself?
Fine, thank you. You know, it's interesting. You are a money a money mindset coach. And people have been talking about the unemployment, the fact that Jerome Powell of the Federal Reserve is going to give a statement on September 17th, 18th is going to change things, and people don't know whether to hold on to their paper, hold on to the crypto, or whatever the case is. But you and I were talking earlier today about the spiritual component of money.
That's right.
Can you
Yeah.
explain?
Sure, sure. So thank you for having me back. I really do appreciate.
My pleasure.
And I love being on your platform. I thought we were going to get a little more into the father of Labor Day. I saw he was born on April 1st and he died on what, September? Was it September 1st?
Yes, he in fact he lived until 95 years old,
Wow.
and when he was 45 years old, that's when he passed the official Labor Day. And for those who lived in the Cleveland area, he was buried at Woodland Cemetery there in Cleveland, Ohio. And I said to pay respect for him. But you know what's very interesting about this man, and let me put this up while we're talking about that, and then we get back. He was a lawyer. He and in his day, he met everybody of who's who, from presidents to politicians to all kinds of people. And you could see it in his book that he wrote back in 1920,
Mm-hmm.
Stranger Than Facts, some of the famous people, that men and women he met. And it was just nice. And in fact, I read from this pages how he initiated Labor Day, how it became the holiday it became. And then I explained that back in 1968, under the former Kennedy Johnson administration, that the Secretary of Labor redesignated Patterson as being the father of Labor Day and gave it to some guy named um, Matthew McGuire. Not taking anything away from him. He was a president of some labor union, the Knights Labor or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's really this man that initiated Labor Day.
Yeah,
And
and in the records, it shows that Green was the first one that initiated the actual holiday in his state. Is that right?
yes,
Mm-hmm.
and although he was born in New Bern, North Carolina. And so what's interesting though, that on September the 1st, which was yesterday, back in 1940, he stepped off the curb and got hit by a car. And
Wow.
that's how he passed away. So, but anyway, every year I make sure I give this man his props.
That's right. It's only right to do so, right? If
Yeah.
not, his legacy would be lost because the history books are not reflecting that.
Yeah, and they tried to do that in 1968 by saying he's really well, and it says we proposed. That's the key word. They proposed that Matthew McGuire and
Right.
part of Labor Day, and whatever the case is. But getting back to numbers or
Mm-hmm.
money,
Mm-hmm.
there used to be this saying that when I was coming up as a child, it is better to receive than to give, or it's better to give than
Give and
receive.
receive.
Sorry. Yeah, that let me get that straight. It is better to give than receive. Yet there's a spiritual law to that Reverend Ike and other people who understood that.
That's true. And that's what I want to talk about today is holistic wealth, right? We
Please do.
always talk about wealth, building money, hustling, right? We in this hustle culture, getting
Yeah.
those dollars, chasing the bag, whatever that is.
Yeah.
But how much are you actually giving? And that's where we, as colored people, I have to put it out there, we're disproportionately lacking in that area. We always want to hold on to things, right? Or we're always feeling like we are in a lack situation. We don't have enough to give, or it could be that, the churches throughout the history have really turned this whole tithing thing and left a bad taste in some people's mouth, because I know some churches that would take your tax return to make sure that you're tithing your 10%, right? And so that lead
I've
and,
heard that too.
right, and they leave the spiritual aspect out of it as to why you need to give in the first place. Not so much just to help the church and keep the lights on and whatnot in the building, but the whole principle behind tithing is the fact that in order to receive more, you need to give more. You have to understand how this universe works, right? We're in a vibratory, participatory universe, meaning that whatever frequency you're putting out, the universe is going to match that back. Let me ask you this, Lloyd. When you look at yourself in the mirror, can your reflection smile before you do? Can you Does your reflection smile before you do, or do you have to smile in order to see the reflection in the mirror?
I think I have to fly. I think I have to smile to see the reflection. But if it does, I'm going to be
Oh, and
okay.
that's my point, because the universe is just like that first, right? You have to smile first in order to see
Uh,
it. And so the universe is going to reflect back to you. It's just like a mirror, right? So what you put out is what you get back. And when you decide, like, let's say there's a charity or organization that you believe in, why not help that charity or organization by sponsoring them financially? We think that, oh, I don't have enough. And so what you're doing is, what you're telling the universe is, oh, well, I live in lack, therefore I'm going to stay in lack. I'm going to pinch myself off from abundance. Whereas if you said, you know what, I'm just going to give anyway, no matter if I have it. I mean, I have $5, I can at least give that much. And we don't even look at it from that standpoint, right? We're always looking at it as, we don't have it, I don't have it. But what if you ask yourself, well, how much could I give? Right? No one's telling you to go out and go give all your money away. And I'm never saying give to your detriment, right? I know some people that will allow friends to borrow money, then they need to pay their bill. Now they're borrowing money because they borrow, they're looking for somebody to loan them some money because they borrowed all their money out. Don't ever give to your detriment. Okay. What I'm saying is, look at how much you have coming in per month, and then see how much you can actually afford. And maybe that's 3%, right? Start small, but then work your way big. Because what you will start to see is that as soon as you start opening up the well, right, and start giving more, guess what? You're going to start getting more in response. And another thing is, don't ever give with the intention of somebody giving it back to you. If you're going to give, just give it away, and let it go. And you also need to say, in order, when you give something, hey, God, universe, source, whatever you call whatever it is that you believe in, I'm giving this freely because I am showing the universe that I have abundance, and I know the abundance will be returned to me in whatever form that you want, right? It could be extra money, it could be more time to sleep, right? Because not everybody values money. Maybe you value more time with your kids. So maybe that's something you want to see in return in
that's
exchange for the
priceless.
money that you gave, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. It doesn't have to be dollar for dollar that you want back. It may be something else. So you need to say that when you give, so the universe can respond in kind to you. And don't ever expect it back from the person that you received it from. I can give you a story. Like when I was in college, went to the grocery store, and unfortunately, I had too many items for the amount of money that I had. So when the cashier rung me up, I was like, "Oh, I don't have all that." Well, luckily, the lady behind me was feeling generous. She was like, "You know what? This is my good deed." She said, "I always wanted to do this for someone. I'm going to pay for your groceries." I didn't even know this woman from a can of paint. And she just opened up her wallet and her heart to me to pay for my groceries. How many of you would do that for someone else? Right? You see someone in line, checkout line, struggling. How many of you will you open yourselves up to give that person who's ever in need? Another situation, I was in a restaurant, in real estate, you're up one month, you're down the next. So I was counting every penny I had. But
Mhm.
there was this deaf lady that came in, and she had two small kids. And she's writing on the notepad telling me that she needs some money. And I'm up there trying to read what she wrote. And I had, just so happened that day, I actually had $20 on me. And that little voice in my head was like, it's your $20. You don't know when the next time you're going to get another commission check. Do you really
Yeah,
want
yeah.
what if he's scamming you? Like, all that stuff is going through my head. And then something just said, give anyway. So I gave to her anyway. And as soon as I gave her that $20, she just basically fell to her feet, thanking me. I'm like, no, lady, get up, get up. But that $20 meant more to her because she could go feed her kids now, right? All I was going to do was just buy me a meal or whatever, but she actually had a family to support. And that's what I'm saying. The amount that you give doesn't matter, because it could mean the world to someone else. Even if it is $5, right? $5 could change someone's life, believe it or not.
Let
So,
me.
and go ahead, Lloyd.
I want to ask you this: does that explain why in our community, when we have this mindset of lend me, give me, can you spare, or is it free, why we be blocking our blessings?
We always block our blessings. We do. We block our blessings because we don't know who it is on the other end of the receiving stick, right? That we're given to. And you give to a person, you never know. That person could be. I saw a guy that's doing TikTok videos where he'll just ask people at random to give him money and see who would give him. And if somebody does give him money, he'll give them like $1,000 or $100 or whatever. He just wanted to test to see if you were willing to give. And if you're willing to give first, then he'll give you more.
I've
And
seen
that's what
some
I'm saying.
videos of that. I've seen some.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So you never know who's going to be on the receiving end of your giving. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter because the universe got your back. And like I said, the more you put out, the more you will get back because guess what it does? It opens you up to more abundance because what you are telling the universe is, hey, universe, look, I have more than enough over here. And matter of fact, we're living in excess, right? We have more than enough to go around. Hey, I'm gonna give to my neighbor. I'm gonna give to the community. I'm gonna give to my favorite organization, charity, whatever it is that you want to support. Now, I do also say make sure to do your research on certain organizations, charity organizations, because a lot of them are administration heavy, meaning that a lot of the fees and your money that you donate goes towards the administration versus the cause. So those larger organizations like Red Cross and whatnot, I would definitely look into that first before giving to that. But maybe there's a smaller local charity that you could donate to that's similar in nature that you know for sure the money will go to the right folks.
Well, it's interesting you said that because at one time there was this company that was raising money for the blind.
Hmm.
It was doing very well until they were inspected by the Better Business Bureau. To come to find out, they were talking about Venetian blinds.
Get out of
So,
here.
in other words, your point is do due diligence if you're going to do it.
Yeah, that's what I'm
That's the
saying. If
point.
you're gonna give, make
Due
sure
diligence.
you're giving to an organization and to a cause that you believe in, and you know the money's going to the right for the right reasons.
It's
Because
interesting.
a lot of scammers.
It's interesting. One of Reverend Ike is one of the gentlemen I admire in the spiritual or religious world,
Hmm.
and he talked about giving that there's a God within us, and that we need to look at that, and that you don't spend the money, you're circulating the money. It all depends on how we perceive how we do it.
Well, I'm gonna go one better. How about on a conscious level? We're all one, right? We're all the source energy, right? We're all one source energy. We're all one being. So if you think of it on that level, on an energetic level, when I give to someone else, I'm actually giving to myself, right? When I give to you, Lord, I'm actually giving to myself because we're all the same energy. We're all the same source. So if I'm giving to you, then I'm giving to myself. I'm no different than you. The only reason why we see separation is because we want to, right? We want to label things and put things in categories and say this is different from us when really there's not. We create the separation, right? It's all about your mindset and how you look at things because perspective is everything.
Yeah, and yet there is enough money to go around. You would think there is. It almost seems as if you don't get it now, and thus they have us chasing after things, when really we have the ability to magnetize what we want if people really understand.
Well, you can thank our friend Edward Bernays for that, right? He's the father of public relation. He's the one that talked to these big corporations and told them, "Hey, if you need people to buy more of your product, you need to tell them that they can't go without it." And so, what they started to do through advertisement and marketing is show you what you don't have, right? Oh, you don't have the cool car. You're not smoking the cool cigarettes. You're not drinking the cool, vodka, whatever it is, right? And now you're feeling left out, and now we start looking at what I don't have. Well, I don't have those things, so therefore I'm not cool, but that's all marketing and the psychology, right? That and the number that it did on a lot of our psyches is still everlasting, is still present to this day because marketing is all about getting you to realize that you need something, right? You're missing something.
Yeah.
And really, you're not missing anything. You have all the resources within. And it goes back to I heard someone say that they wanted to become an artist, but they didn't have the supplies like the fancy oil paint and then the brushes and all that stuff. And someone brought back the fact back in primitive days, all they used was a burnt end of a stick and did some charcoal drawings on a wall, and they got the job accomplished. So, what resources and tools do you have, right? Instead of looking at what you don't have, what resources and tools do you have in your presence now? Maybe it's a pencil, right? Maybe you just draw something with the pencil right now until you can get the colors. Maybe you're using your color pencils, maybe crayons. It may not be oil painting right now, but there is something you could do now that's within your realm to get you started. And that's what this whole thing is in a nutshell, is realizing that you never live in lack, right? It's only your perception. It's
I
only
agree.
your perception.
I agree. I agree. It makes a difference, and yet I will say, because as African Americans across this entire nation, We have more combined spending power than some nations abroad, even European nations too. And
We
yet we're
do.
starving in the midst of plenty. And I
We
think
do.
the notion of lend me, give me, can you spare is if we don't play, if we don't do that with any other group either.
No. And the
We
thing about it
want
is
to be the
you buy
last
what
thing.
you want.
Hmm. Yeah. So I'm just saying there are things that we need to look at. Now you have this course coming up at the end of this week. Can you tell us about this?
Yeah, so this is going to be a really fun workshop, and I'm saying it's fun, right? I'm going to try to make it as entertaining as possible for you lovely folks who want to attend. But what we're going to do is help break down any limited beliefs that we have about money. There's going to be some NLP techniques. We're going to do some hypnotherapy. We're going to do some reframing. Like I have everything already lined out. I'm going to get you to start seeing things in new ways, and I'm going to give you some homework to do, right? Because we're going to do three more follow up sessions. So, really, you're getting four classes in total because we're going to do the workshop on Saturday and then do 3 weeks of a follow up session each week. Where I get to follow up with you and see if you're implementing the tools and techniques that I gave you and see how your life is changing. Because again, it's all about changing your perspective. The abundance is there. We just need to see it. And so once we flip that switch in our mind about money, because let's face it, they make money so important in our lives. We feel like we can't function without money, right? I can't
Yeah,
do this, I can't do this, and I can't do that without having any money. When that's not true, right? You can do what you can within the realm of your possibilities, and then it'll expand out further. But you got to get started somewhere. And it is your vibration, right? It's just like, okay, so for instance, we're all radio stations, right? And depending on what your frequency is, you're going to pick up on whatever channel, whatever station at that time. So I might be set to FM 105, where Lloyd might be set to FM 107, right? And he's going to get that programming where I'm going to get the programming from the station that I'm set on. Well, if you're set on a station that's not helping you or serving you with the information that is presented to you, maybe you should change your frequency and start tuning into something else, right? And that's
that
what I'm going
makes
to help you
perfect
with.
sense, Portia. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah,
It's just a matter of what frequency we're going to tune into.
exactly. So I'm going to help you change your frequency, right? You got to get in the right vibration in order to attract whatever it is that you're trying to attract in your life. And money, my friends, is no more than energy, right? We try to put a big emphasis on money because they make money seem so important in our lives. But once you realize that money is not the most important thing, it's actually time, then you get to switch, right, what your priority is in life. And therefore, you're not really worried about the money so much. And then it just comes in. It starts coming in because you're not pushing it away anymore. Right? We push it away with our worry. Oh, I don't know if I'm gonna have enough to pay my bills. Oh, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to buy that new dress. Oh, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to put gas in my car this week. Right? If you keep going down the rabbit hole, what you don't have, and started thinking the possibilities, you know what? I don't know if I'm gonna be able to pay gas this week, but maybe I can ask so and so to help cover the gap, and then next week I'll pay so and so back, and or maybe something to happen where the money will come to you. That has happened before too. And we talked about something before, Lloyd, that actually you brought up a good point earlier, where you said that whenever you gave, right, didn't more things start happening for you? More things
Yeah.
start coming back. Tell me, didn't you tell me a story about that?
Well, when I was in my 20s, I was helping this elderly gentleman. His name was Eugene Gibson.
Hmm.
And I would help him. And one day I just told a friend that, like, every time I seem to help this man, something nice always happens to me. And my friend said to me, "Well, you should go there every day." But to me, he missed the point. It wasn't that I was helping him to help him. I figured one day I would be an elder myself, and that you never know. So it's like a blessing. I'll even say, "Excuse me," to a bum in the street. You
That's
know what I'm
right.
saying? Because what they say, there for the grace of God go I.
That's right.
You
We
know,
don't know. We don't know what giving to someone else would do for you in the long run, right? You were just helping that man out just out the kindness of your heart, not
yeah.
expecting anything back in return, but the universe has something greater in store because of the energy that you were putting out. And
Here's what
so,
I'd like to ask you.
mhm,
In our communities, for us to be so lacking in the finances when it comes to the purchasing of clothes and pocketbooks and shoes and cars, it's always top dollar. And yet
well,
the millionaires, the billionaires, the 5%, 10%, 1%ers, they just be walking around in some shorts.
Right, like it shocked me that Bill Gates still has a Timex watch, right? I'm thinking this man has like 50 Rolexes, but nope, he still has a Timex and he brown bags his lunch. Matter of fact, there was this well-renowned French chef. Bill Gates flew his whole Microsoft corporation there for a fancy meal. I think he paid like per plate like $400 per meal. He didn't even touch his plate. And that's what the chef was saying. He was like, man, I made this exquisite meal for Mr. Gates, and he didn't even touch his plate. Now, how many of us would have sat there and ate that food anyway because we paid for it?
And and it's interesting because Floyd Mayweather, the heavyweight champion, spent X number of millions of dollars on a watch.
Hmm. Yeah,
Well,
because we like to look good.
I got a watch on 125th Street for $10. It worked. It still works.
Well, us and gold, we go back like this, like like babies in bottles, right? We, since Africa, we love to adorn our gold. So,
So I'm not trying to knock him. I mean, Floyd Mayweather probably obviously have the money, but it seemed like those
mm,
millions of dollars could be for the community, the elders or senior citizens. But I don't know. I don't
you're
know.
you're at a loss, right? Because you're trying to figure out how these people have all this wealth, yet you don't see them giving back to anybody in the community or doing anything per se for the communities. We do know that sometimes they like Oprah. Oprah, she gives, but it's not like per se to help Nene and them in the hood, right? The school that she built was in Africa. Like
Yeah.
we need some schools around here, Oprah.
And in
We can
fact,
use a few.
50 Cent is one of the few that I know that consciously gives to communities. I think they honored him. He built some community and stuff like that. But this is
Hmm.
what I'm talking about. So for people to have all that extremes of money, and I'm not trying to knock nobody, but I
Right.
haven't heard about Jay-Z or Beyonce doing something, and they're close to being a billionaire.
Oh yeah, they are billionaires, and you're right. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Now, I'm not saying that these people couldn't be doing something anonymously, right? Because
Right,
sometimes
exactly right.
when you give, you're not supposed. You give in silence, right? Let's be honest. When you give in silence. You're not supposed to make a big deal about you making a big donation somewhere because you're giving out the kindness of your heart and not to get the so-called accolades and everything else that come along with making a big donation. And what I find is that most people who do have money, because a lot of us would be like, oh, well, I don't have money. Then when you get it, you think you're going to be so happy. Then you find out this ain't doing it. And then a lot of millionaires or wealthy people, what they decide to do is start helping others. Like, well, this really warms the heart when I help the community or when I help this person or when I taught this person that, right? So that's where it comes from. Helping the next man, helping your community, helping your fellow man is what helps you propel up to the next level spiritually. And let's face it, none of us are going to leave this planet alive, right? At some point, all of us are going to die, right?
Yep,
This is the game, nobody wins alive.
that's
So
how the rumor
death
goes.
is the only way I know to get out of it. And so if we want to be on the right side of things, whether you believe in heaven or hell, because like I said, that's a personal opinion and personal choice. But all I'm saying is you want to be in good standing spiritually and be I guess what I should say, a good steward of your money and be able to give to those who are in need. Or even start your own organization if that's something that you want to do as well.
Well, it's interesting. I saw something the other day. I don't know what I might make it available, but there were so-called 16 sites that very wealthy people give to people less fortunate. So
They do.
yeah, because there are people who give, and they're very wealthy people. It seems
Mhm.
like some of the higher ups or whatever. And
Have to. We're your tax deductions. Let's come on. Let's face it, folks. Right? When you give, that is a write-off, and that's another thing that we forget. So that's the reason why the other our counterparts, right, our lighter skinned counterparts, they already know the game. They don't mind giving to things that they want to support because at the end of the day, they go make a large donation. Guess what? We're writing that off on Uncle Sam, right? So I can give you $5,000. That's a donation. I'm writing it off. So why? Why not give? And then another thing is, we don't even think about this, but tipping, that is another big issue that we have as far as people of color. I don't know about you, but I have seen waiters and waitresses not want to serve people of color because they're like, they don't tip. And that's on a large scale, right? Stereotyping us because I'm a tipper,
but no,
right?
no, no. But here's the point. The irony is we tip more than any other group.
Sometimes, but not all the times. Like I could say, like for instance, during the pandemic, I decided I was going to do some door dashing, which only lasts for like a week. But what I did realize was that on certain sides of town, I would get tips. Other sides, I wouldn't. So I would just be cherry picking the zip codes I wanted to be in because I knew I could get tipped on that side. And then people in those communities wonder why they're underserved because nobody wants to serve anybody who's not paying, right? And when you tip people, think about it. Tips came about. The word, do you know what the word tip stands for, Lloyd?
No. Mm-mm.
Okay, tip stands for to ensure proper service. Okay, really, you're supposed to
Really?
tip. You're supposed to tip before you even get served. Think about it. If you tipped your waiter or waitress before you got served, how much more willing they're going to be bringing your stuff out as soon as you put your drink down empty, they're going to be filling it up because you already tipped them, right? They already know how much they're getting from you, so they're going to be working harder to keep you happy.
And what does
Um,
tips mean again?
to ensure proper service.
To ensure
Ensure proper service. That is
service.
what tips mean.
Okay.
And when tips first evolved, when it first came about, people were to encourage the waiter or waitress to give them the best service, they would give them the money up front to ensure proper service, correct? So if I slip the waiter $5, guess what? He's going to take care of me. He's going to give me the proper service. It's just that, things have evolved and now we tip after the service. But you could tip your waiter or waitress before, nothing's stopping you, right? If you have a $10 bill in your
That
pocket,
is true. That is
yeah,
true.
nothing's stopping you from tipping them before.
That is true. That is most interesting. Now, over and above the dollar bill, there's something else now because people are talking about okay, the paper money fiat. They're talking about precious metals, but also the main thing behind fiat money is cryptocurrency.
Correct.
Okay, and in fact, if I am not mistaken, there is somebody we know on this show that just wrote a book on cryptocurrency. Can you tell us
Yeah.
about your book that came out
Yeah,
on
because you had
Amazon?
mentioned that at the beginning of the show, talking about Jerome Powell, and everybody's waiting at the last minute to see what he's going to say. And what's crazy about that whole scenario, that guy's not even like the Federal Reserve is not a U.S. government entity. They are a foreign corporation, right? And
Yeah,
so they're a
people don't
corporation
realize that. They think it's the
for
government, but
profit.
it is.
It's
Yeah,
not the government, right? It's just like saying the Federal Reserve is federal because that's federal, and not Federal Reserve, but the Federal Express is federal because it has federal in the name. But we all know FedEx ain't federal. So
yeah.
these people manipulate us through the interest rates, right? When the interest rates are high, buying power is low. When interest rates are low, buying power is high. But they can manipulate it however they feel, right? And whatever, for no good reason, they could raise rates. And unfortunately, we're at the mercy of however the pendulum swings when that goes. So with crypto, though, we don't have to adhere to those standards or those monetary guidelines anymore because this is a whole new financial system that was created for sovereignty, right? For you to
Yeah,
become
yeah.
your own bank. Now, trust me, the government's trying to find ways to get their greasy paws on this platform, but the way it was designed, I don't no one could be over the blockchain, right? As a public ledger, everybody has access to it. You can check wallets and see what's in it. If you have, if you know people's ID numbers and things like that. So that takes the hiddenness out of the whole process of how
Well,
money
see,
works.
banks are in the cryptocurrency. Even BlackRock now is in the cryptocurrency, if I'm not
Oh
mistaken.
yeah, 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 yeah. But see, that's the thing. They have a whole framework already laid out, and that's what most people don't even know. J.P. Morgan Chase, BlackRock, Visa, all of these financial institutions already have their blockchain framework laid out on how they're going to transition over to this new platform. Now, us in the media is going to tell you lies. They're not here to be your friends. They're here to misguide you, mislead you, in order for them to take advantage of you. Remember, let's think about this. Back in the day, right, when there was the elites, we had ruling people and whatnot. They didn't want the general public reading. Why? Because if you're able to read, then you would be wise and you know for yourself. Nowadays, right, they control us through not giving us the information because now we all can read. If you want to go find information, you can go read it for yourself. But how they control it is that they're like the gatekeepers of the information. That's why only certain corporations own so much of the media. Right? It used to be back in the day, I know when I was growing up, there were several different media corporations, but they all got ate up one by one, and now we
Hmm.
have like two or three controlling ones.
That's it.
That's
Yeah.
right. And so they control the information that goes in and what goes out. And sometimes to get the real news, we have to step outside of the news in the US and sometimes plug into maybe the BBC or Algeria or something like that to get a different perspective. But the reason why I wrote this book is because I don't want our people to get left behind. But, I read something so positive and encouraging the other day. I read something that said that majority of minorities, more so than white counterparts, are getting into crypto. And why? Because we never trust the government or the banks to begin with. And so we're looking at this new system as our savior. We're seeing so many people get rich off of just investing here and investing there into the right coin and, blowing up. But there's so much more to crypto than just buying the right coin. There's DeFi, there's staking, there's also where you can provide liquidity. You can take out loans, discharge loans, right? And then you can take those profits and then buy into gold or whatever from
I
your
was going to say
crypto.
you can even buy precious metals, gold,
Yeah,
silver,
yeah. So
platinum.
take your profits and just go
With
ahead and buy you some precious metals, gold and silver.
I need to ask a question because I know of the word cryptocurrency. What is blockchain? What does that mean?
So the blockchain is the actual ledger or the system that the crypto operates on. When they talk about these different types of coins, they're talking about a block on the blockchain. So Bitcoin was the first one, right? So they have their own layer on the blockchain. Then came Ethereum, but with Ethereum, they have what is called smart contracts. The smart contracts are contracts that are like agreements, basically written between each node to say, hey, these are this and these facts have to check out before we can agree to this particular transaction, right? And that's the reason why crypto has exploded since the use of smart contracts, because now we can do what they call RWAs, which is real world assets like real estate. We can put that on the blockchain now because I can buy a property, then I'll take the LLC, create it on the Ethereum smart contract, and have everybody buy tokens into that LLC, right? And then from there, we can purchase the property. So that's how it works.
Now, when you say tokens, what does that mean? Is tokens equivalent to like money?
Right.
Coin?
Yeah, it's going to be a reflection of how much of a fraction of the real estate I'm selling. So let's say the building cost me 200,000 and I decided to divide it into $5,000 tokens. And that way you have to have $5,000 to get into the investment. So I
I
would just take the 200,000 divided by, that number and see how many tokens I would need to supply.
Now I understand that supposedly there's only available 65 million or something. After that, when it runs out, people can't get it. Or
Are you talking about Bitcoin?
yes, I guess so. Is that what can you
Yeah,
explain?
Bitcoin was written, well, was not written, but it was created to be limited in supply. So every 4 years, there's going to be less and less Bitcoin produced up until I forgot the ending year, but we're getting close to it, to be honest with you. So less and less Bitcoin is going to be produced because the overall amount, the total amount of Bitcoin ever will be in production will be 21 million. That's it. Unlike the dollar, right? When they feel like it, they can just go print more.
Yeah,
Well, you can't do that with Bitcoin. That's not gonna happen. So once those 21 million are in circulation, that's it.
that's interesting.
That's it. That's why they said it's going to be more valuable than gold because with Bitcoin, we know the limit. With gold, we don't we mined a lot of gold, but we don't know how much more is out there.
And in fact, what you made this available to the public too, where people can download the ebook.
Yeah, so actually, I'm running a special for my people here on the Live with Lloyd show. If you use Lloyd promo code on my bloomlife.me website, you can download the copy of the ebook and then get a 25% discount off of that, and also my transformation guide. Now, also, I'm proud to say if you would like a hard copy of the book, it is now available on Amazon. So if you want the hard copy of the book, I would suggest you go to Amazon to get the hard copy. But if you don't mind, doing the digital version, then you would go to my site and then you would get the digital version there.
Yeah, well,
So,
that's
but
why
there's a
this can
benefit to
be
having
joined.
a hard copy too, because I do have the journal pages in the back. And so you can actually write in the book versus, having to print out the pages. So it's up to you, right? I try to give the folks options.
Now, not only that, for those crypto enthusiasts and crypto holders and crypto investors, you also have a seminar coming up on the 19th of next month.
Yes, October 19th. A lot of people were asking about this. They wanted to just get the basics of crypto. So we're not going to go into anything too deep, but we are going to learn about the blockchain. We're going to talk about ways to keep your money safe on the online. And then we also have the difference between hardware and software wallets. I always opt for a hardware wallet because, it's an external device and you have it in your hands and, your stuff is safe with you. And then we're also going to talk about how to onboard, right? How to purchase your first crypto, which will probably be Bitcoin. There's different ways to do it, but I'll show you two ways of doing it because some people don't mind what they call KYCing, which is knowing your customer. That means when you have to identify yourself on the platform. Where some people they don't want to do that, right? They rather go in anonymously and utilize the space anonymously, and you can do that too.
Now, I've heard about wallets. I don't understand wallets. I mean, a wallet in my pocket, that I understand.
Right.
Technologically, what do they talk about a wallet?
Well,
Uh,
they're talking about just a hardware wallet. Let me see if I have. I think I have both of mine here. Yeah. Okay. I don't know if you can see this, but
Hold on, let me
this
go.
is
Let me get pulled.
this is one. This is called the Ledger. See it? It's called the Ledger. It's a hardware wallet, and it opens up like this. I don't know if it's got enough battery in it to come on. Maybe not. Let me see.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So this is the hardware wallet, and here I can. Let me see if I can turn it on. It might not be charged. I don't think I charged it up in a while. But either way, I can connect this to my computer. It has a interface I can use, and this is where my crypto is stored versus online. So it's stored here, or this is another one that I have. This I like a little bit better because it's actual card. That's all it is a credit card, like a credit card, and you can get a set of 2 or 3 of these. This is through Tangent, right? I
Mhm,
have a set of 3, and
mhm.
so all I do is download the app on my phone, and then with Tangent. I don't know if you can see my phone. I'm going to unlock it and I'm going to show you how Tangent works. Let me go to
Yeah,
that.
this is interesting. This is fascinating.
All right. So the Tangent app. And now with the app, all they want me to do, I don't know if you can see this. Okay. And all they want me to do is hold the card up and then it'll scan in.
Hmm.
And then all I got to do is put my code in. So all you got to do is touch your card to your phone. And then it'll prompt you to put your code in. And then you can get access to your crypto here. But yeah, so this one or the other one I just showed, which is the Ledger here. Now, Ledger has another device that they've come up with. And then also Tangent, this company, they have a ring now, which is a ring you wear on your finger to store your crypto.
Are you
So
serious? It's gotten like that?
yeah, yeah, keep your crypto on your finger, huh? And you can keep a ring on your kind of like the Aura ring that reads your biorhythms and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So you can keep your crypto stored on the ring if you want to do it that way. So this company Tangent was the one that created
Can
the
you
ring.
turn your crypto into cash? I mean, you can tell. Obviously, I'm not familiar with this area. Could you tell?
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. Some sites or some platforms allow you to have a debit card connected to your account, and that way
Like
you
to
can
your bank
use.
so you can transfer back and
Well,
forth?
right, right. So you can transfer back and forth. A lot of that stuff has been kind of hard to get through here in the United States. So a lot of that stuff is not offered here because I know 1inch, which is another platform, they offer the debit card, but we couldn't get it because we're in the United States. So you got to kind of watch out for that. It's kind of tricky when it comes to that kind of thing because here in the United States we haven't fully embraced crypto, so there's still a lot of legalities to get around it. I don't know if you heard recently, but one of the founders or the guy who founded Telegram, which is just a messaging system, was arrested in France because they felt like he wasn't giving the government control over the platform and allowing criminal activity to take place. Where he's like, man, I just create the platform and let people do what they do, right? It's a free society, but the government always wants to control everything. So let's see how his case turns out.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
That
but he has a very popular crypto coin called the Ton coin, which is native to the Telegram network. And so that coin had been doing really well this year. It like broke the top 10 really quickly. And then that platform is going to be used to onboard a lot more users into the space because the reason why a lot of people get into crypto, to be honest with you, Lloyd, is for gaming. right? So with all the gaming coming up on the platform, more and more people are going to get onboarded into crypto.
Hold up, you mean gaming like Call of Duty or some of those games like
Right,
that?
they have other games and stuff that you can play. You can even do there. You can do horse racing. There's a lotto system that you can use with crypto. There's so many different things. That's what I'm saying. A lot of people just think, oh, it's buying a coin. No, no, it's a whole
I
nother
gotta get.
world.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I mean I've heard of cryptocurrency back and forth. One says this, one says that. The way you explain it, I didn't know it had all those options in it like that. That's
Yes,
very
sir.
interesting.
Yes, sir. This platform, this space is the new frontier. So, anytime you are thinking about the future, you need to be thinking about blockchain technology because that's where the future is headed and that's where everybody's going. And these bigger corporations, they already know it because they're trying to get there before the masses do. So they can get the control over it, right? Because when you're first into something, you can control it better. And that's the reason why they're telling you to stay away from it so they can get a grip on it first. Then they're going to let you come around.
But then they will control it.
Exactly. So you
Because
want
I
to get in before that happens.
because I understand is CBD something where the banks want to now switch over to digital. So all of a sudden they will freeze your account and everything is accountable. You can't give your babysitter a little extra cash.
Hmm.
You can't do this. Everything will now be screened or monitored. Is that?
Well, it's not the first time they did that. Back in 1933, under with our president, I think it was Delano Roosevelt, right? Franklin
Yep.
Delano Roosevelt.
Yep.
He ordered for all gold, right? No American citizens could have gold in their possession, and we were supposed to turn it into the government. You can go pull that up right now if you guys want to. Google that. It's a real thing that happened in the 30s, saying that all U.S. citizens had to turn in their gold. And so,
Yeah,
what's
that's
stopping them
real.
from doing that now?
Well, it's interesting, and I guess back in 1971 in August, Richard M. Nixon, the Capricorn president born January the 9th, also took us off the gold standard.
And that's what really messed us up as far as inflation goes. Because remember, the 60s were good times because the dollar had value in the 60s, right? And so that's why the cost of goods and services were low. You could actually get an apartment in Manhattan for what, less than $10,000 probably a year, no problem, right? In the 60s. All that changed when Nixon took over and they wanted to fund this war in Vietnam. Now, America has always been the holder or the reservist of gold for other countries. So we were holding gold for Germany, France, some other European countries. But what they realized was that we were going into war and we needed money. And they saw that how's America able to, do this war and they don't have as much money. So these other countries started asking for the gold back. And then
Yes, I
Nixon,
understand. A lot of countries have now
mhm.
asked for their gold out of the U.S. vaults.
But they did that back in the 70s when we were going to war with Vietnam. And that's the reason why Nixon had to remove the gold standard because he didn't want to be pressured from those other countries about us utilizing their gold in order to fund the war.
Interesting.
Yeah,
So
so
all
we've
of
been
this has
removed from that.
historical context.
Oh, always. Money has always been global, right? The finance system has always been global because we don't own our own currency system. We don't own it, right? The private corporation, the Federal Reserve, and what are they? They are international, right? So that's why money has always been global.
So would you say this is the United States Incorporated of America?
Yes, it is. This is a corporation, lock, stock, and barrel, and we are the stock. That's why you have a birth certificate and it has a number. You know what tripped me out though is to find out that melanin, right, the substance in our skin, is actually
Yes,
sold on the stock exchange.
I understand that. I understand. And they found that melanin is more valuable than some of these other
Then
things like
gold.
the phones.
Yeah, it's more valuable than gold. They don't tell you that though, right? Yeah, it's traded for more than gold on the stock exchange. Melanin, the very substance of our skin, to let you know how precious the skin is. So, it's really crazy. Like I said, we value money and we put a lot of emphasis on money, but money ain't the top of the tops, right? As a matter of fact, a lot of people with wealth, I would say, don't even want money. They want income producing assets. The money they'll just go burn because it's worthless to them. But we have been programmed, like I said, because we're the have nots, to think that that's what we need in order to be something, right? We equate money with having a status, with having success, with having a name for ourselves, right? We equate that. And society doesn't make it any better because, right, we give more admiration and adulation to those who have money. Oh, she has money, so she could be treated this way or that way, right? We roll our red carpet for people with money. And so when you see that growing up, the paradigm for you is, well, I got to get that in order to have that,
You
and
know,
that's
it's
not true.
interesting. I'm talking about this inflation and the value of the dollar bill or the lowering of the dollar bill. My grandmother told, I remember my grandmother telling my mother that they could get three lemons for 10 cents. Yet I was in a store the other day. This was about 2 days ago. One organic lemon was $1.99.
You know what? That whole organic thing is really a racket. It's a racket because before this whole organic movement, then what kind of food were we eating before?
It was all organic.
That's what I'm saying. And then on top of that, why I got to pay more for grass-fed beef? But don't cows naturally eat grass?
That's all they eat. They don't eat meat.
No, because these manufacturers, right? We call these animal manufacturers. They feed the cows what they're not supposed to be eating, which is corn. Corn is the main staple of the cow's diet now because they said that's what fattens them up. So that's what the cows eat now. They're eating grain and corn. But if you want a grass-fed cow, right, one that was put out the pasture and actually roamed, then you're gonna have to pay a little bit more money. And to me, that is so asinine. And the fact that we just take it, nobody questions it. We just, I just paid the extra $10 more for this piece of steak because it ate grass. But nobody questions this whole system. I
That's
don't know why.
crazy, though. That's
I know.
crazy.
If you think about it, it is crazy. Just like with Netflix now, had Netflix for years. They never had commercials. Now you're telling me they have commercials and I have to pay for them? When I used to watch regular TV, it had commercials, but I didn't have to pay because I was watching the commercials
So now you got to pay and be
and
able to.
watch commercials.
All this is on Netflix now?
Yeah, Netflix has an option now where I guess it's supposed to be the lower tier, where if you want Netflix, but you still pay for it per month, but you still got to watch commercials. That's BS.
I think YouTube has something like that, if I'm not mistaken.
YouTube is free, but you just have to watch the commercials, right? I don't mind that trade
No,
off.
but they
I
got a
don't.
premium. They got a premium service. What I understand that if you pay,
You
you
shouldn't
either
have any
no
commercials.
commercials or
Hmm.
there's less in the commercial. So everything is about money.
Everything, and everybody's going to subscription based model because that keeps people paying over and over and over again. Just like I was looking at my grandmother's cable bill, her cable bill alone was like $300, and I was trying to,
What?
yeah, because she has her home phone. So nowadays you can't, there's no analog line, so you have to have internet. So we couldn't get rid of the internet, even though she didn't even know she had internet. She was like, I don't want to use internet. I was like, I know, but you have to have it because of your phone service now. It's all a racket. So now she has to pay for internet because she didn't pay for internet, she wouldn't have phone service. And then she doesn't know how to stream services and stuff, so used to using the cable. So her bill is $300 a month. And what I saw was that she was renting those cable boxes. Now my grandmother has been with this cable company for 20 years. Now, how long has she been renting those boxes for? She paid for them multiple times over. At some point you would think the cable company say, you know what, you've been renting these boxes out for about 5 years now. You've already paid for them, so we're not going to charge you no more. They don't do that.
This country seems to be driven, maybe it's me, maybe it's my naivete, but everything is profit driven. Why can't there be, for example, the FDA, Food Drug Administration, was trying to begin to let the public know the side effects of ultra processed foods that they eat. And the lobby actually went against them, talking about, well, they need to make a profit, but at the expense of people. But if people are
Other people's
allowed
lives.
to stop, maybe I'm missing something. I think if you keep people alive and healthy and whatnot, they'll be buying for a long time, not
No,
going
you're
through
not
it.
missing anything. Is that you have a heart. See, now if you were missing something like they are, which is a heart, then yeah, you'd probably be thinking that same way. But yeah, you love your fellow man and you won't do them any harm. But unfortunately, the people at the top don't feel that way, right? They are all about thinning out the herd, population control, keeping us in control. And one way that they do that is keeping us in debt. So if you keep people enslaved in debt, then Of course, they're going to be on that hamster wheel, running, running, running. That's why credit card debt is so high here in America because
into
of
the
the
trillions of
consumerism.
dollars. In the
Right,
trillions.
consumerism. But we learned that from our government because our deficit is so high, right? So it's tit and tat. The government has a high bill, we have a high bill too. It is the American culture and the way of life. Fake it till you make it. So if you don't have it, you got a credit card, charge today and pay for it later.
And you always got to. The rule is if you don't pay for it now, you pay for it later. But you pay
Oh
for it
yeah,
later
plus
too.
some,
And I
plus
think
some
what's the APR, the annual something rate,
percentage rate.
is like up to now 25%.
And that's the part that they sneak on you, right? That you don't see because even when you go to get a mortgage, they're going to tell you what the interest rate is, but they never tell you what the APR. Now they have to disclose it on the actual document that they give you for your loan application. So they have to disclose the APR there, but they don't have to tell you about it. Nor do they have to tell you the total amount of interest you're going to pay over the life of the loan. It's on the document, but they don't have to disclose it to you.
So it's like being kept in a state of ignorance.
Hey, if you want to hide something from somebody, what, put it in a book?
Yeah.
So a lot of us are too lazy to read. That's just bottom line. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to sugarcoat it. I hate to be very blunt like that, but a lot of us are too lazy to read, and we wind up getting into things and not knowing what we're signing. And unfortunately, contracts come with consequences because once you're in a contract with somebody, it's a binding agreement.
Listen, I need to do something in all fairness to you.
Hmm.
Please, for those of you who wish to know how to get in touch with Miss Cooper, she is the money mindset coach. She's an author, lecturer, and she's a really beautiful human being. There's no question.
Thank
Um,
you. I appreciate that.
this is where you go to bloomlife.me to sign up for the course, right?
Hmm.
I'm going to show that in a moment. And you got your Instagram is bloomlife.coach. Your Cash
Correct.
App is $Venus Black, BLAQUE. And her PayPal.me is slash Porcha, Porcha. Is that
That's
correct?
true. That is correct. That is correct. And if you guys want to prime the pump, then give in order to receive. And not just me. I mean, you don't have to give. I'm not saying that just to give to me tonight. Maybe there's another organization or person that you want to support. But at the end of the day, learn how to open up your wallets because guess what? That's going to open you up to receive more abundance. And it happens time and time again. The more you give, the more you will get back. And what you're telling the universe is, look, I have more than enough. I have more than enough to give. I have abundance, right? And that's what you should be feeling every day. You should feel abundant, right? That is your connection with source of the abundance that we have. And stop looking at things as far as limitations because you do have all the resources with you. You just have to change your perspective.
And this is the course that you are going to be having starting on Friday, just in a matter of days.
Oh, yes, Saturday. Yes, I will be. Yes, Saturday. I can't wait. I'm kind of excited about it. Well, actually, I'm really excited about it because I get to work with people and help them transform their lives, and there's no greater joy than for me to do that for someone and see the light just comes on people's face when they get it.
And the fee under all the considerations is, as far as I'm concerned, is next to nothing.
Yeah, yeah, because you're getting 4 sessions actually, not just the one, the workshop, yes, on Saturday, but we'll have 3 more follow-up sessions afterwards. And
And that's less than $100.
yeah,
That's
for each session.
that's only about $60, actually.
I try to make it affordable for the people, right? And that goes back into investing into yourself. I think a lot of us will want to look good, like you say, Lord. We go buy the Gucci shoes, the Prada purse, right? We'll look good, but how much are you investing into yourself? And let's face it, this economy that we live in right now is information driven. So the more you know, the more you will grow, and your income can grow as well. So it always goes back to investing into yourself, becoming better, and self improvement because that in the long run is going to be your wealth, not the shoes.
No, no. Mm-mm. Well, let me say this while we're at it. Please get her book that's just come out on Amazon. So because I took it upon myself to invite you back in October. Why?
It's so
Because
nice of you.
yeah, sure. I mean, that's how my mother raised me. So to talk about the crypto side of the equation, because this is one area I don't know. Definitely. I've heard of cryptocurrency, and I understand if you ain't got your password, you can forget it. It's lost and forever and whatnot. But I think this is good. And for those of you who'd like to get a handle on it, working backwards, they can also get a copy of it on ebook, right?
Yeah, they can get an ebook download from my site. And like I said, today is 25% off. I think I'm gonna run it to the end of the week. So, all this week you would get 25% off the ebook and also the transformation guide that I also have on my site. And if you want the hard copy, like I said, there's no discount on the hard copy because it goes through Amazon, but you can definitely go there and get your hard copy of the book. And the book, like I said, is just the fundamentals of crypto, but it also helps you overcome any limiting beliefs about why you can't get into crypto, right? So, and if Lloyd can do it, then anyone can do it, right? Because you have a wallet, you've got some coins, right? So, let him be an example and hopefully give you some guidance, right? Be your guide into getting into this because anyone can do it at any age. You're never too old to start. Now, some people are, oh,
Yeah.
well, I'm too old
Yeah.
to learn this, and nah, 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 nah. Nah, you're never too. A dog is not too old to learn some new tricks. That's all I'm saying. And when you say that, you are speaking your truth because you are limiting yourself. Instead of saying, you know what, I this may not be something I understand yet, but I'm gonna get to know it better.
Now, you did say, if I'm not mistaken, if they download this and put in my name, Lloyd, they get a little discount on the download.
Yeah, yeah. So just the promo code Lloyd. Just plug that in, and it should take 25% off the ebook download.
Okay. Please do. Please take advantage of it. In
Yeah,
fact,
I
I'm
just
going
want to
to
make
order
sure.
myself. So when I have you back on in October, I'll know what to talk about and it'll make sense. I guess I don't know nothing about no crypto.
Well, you
So,
look, but even so, you still got started, and that's what the whole thing is in a nutshell. You may not know much now, but you may know enough to get started or have someone help you get started in the space to at least start buying some coins or at least getting familiar with what you can do with it so you can get greater later, right? This is my favorite saying. You don't have to be great to get started, but you have to get started to be great.
that makes sense. That is a common sense statement. Okay. I like that very much. I like that very, very much.
Hmm.
So Portia, love you much, hon. Thank you so,
Love
so
you
much.
too.
This is great. This is
Thank you,
great.
everybody.
So hold up. Let me make sure we do this again. I want to make
Thank you,
sure
Jazz, for moderating. I appreciate that.
that's for girl jazz is. Listen, that's
Yes.
that's it. But at the bottom of your screen, you see all the information you need to get in touch. And while you edit, don't forget these are some of the things she's offering this at the end of this week. For those of you who want to start with the money first, that is on this Saturday. Is it the 7th?
Yep, Saturday the 7th. And if
Saturday.
someone's having trouble signing up, because someone reached out to me last week and they were having trouble signing up for the class, you can email me at booked appointments, BOOKED right? Booked appointments, APPT, at gmail.com. So booked APPT at gmail.com. And
Jazz, if you if Jazz, my moderator, could put that up so people.
yes, yeah, if they're having trouble, because I know a lady who had trouble last week. Let me see. Can I comment in the chat? Maybe I can. Let's see. I don't think it let me type it, huh? Nope.
Yeah,
Oh, here
no,
it is.
no, no. Excuse me. See, this
Uh-huh.
how Jazz roll. She don't play. Okay,
Oh, well, there she go.
there you
Yeah, I
go.
know she had my back. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank
Yep.
you,
So
Jazz.
for any issues, yeah, please send me an email, and I'll be more than glad to help you resolve it. And like I said, it's going to be a small class. I have almost half of what I need as far as people go, so I'll need a couple of more folks to join in. And the last day to register would be Friday. So make sure to get in if you feel like this is something that you need in order to transform your life. Definitely will increase your bank account because it's going to open you up to more abundance. So if that's something that you're looking for, then definitely go ahead and sign up for the class.
I don't see why people are not looking for just a little bit more abundance in their pocketbook. Okay.
That's right. We just have to recognize it first. It's already there. We just have to recognize it.
Um, Portia, I want to thank you so much. This has been great. This has been really, really great. I enjoyed this. And it just shows you think you know about money until you talk to somebody of your caliber to find out how much you don't know. And especially when it comes to cryptocurrency, I know the word, I've heard
Mhm.
about it, It's like you just need the only thing I know is if you don't have your right password, you ain't getting none of that.
Well,
So
at least you know the basics, right? And so that's enough to build upon from there.
good, good.
And I say great minds think alike. I see we kind of wore the same color today, so everything's
Well,
in harmony.
excuse me, this is the money week green. Okay.
Oh yes, yes, honey.
Thanks so much. All right.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you. I look forward to
Okay.
coming back.
Yes,
Everybody
please.
have a great night.
And you will be back in October for sure. And Jazz Aphrodite, thank you so, so much. As she always does. She does
Much gratitude,
a
Jazz.
great job on this. Let me just, there's a couple of things I have to announce. Okay. Thank you so much, Portia. That was great. Thank you, dear. All righty. Let me tell you this. This is Money Week. And to round it off on Wednesday, we have Jamila Shabazz. She was supposed to have been on last Wednesday, but she was under the weather, and she's going to have a wealth party. So between these two women, it's everybody take notes, pencils, record whatever you need to do, and these are the things. So before I finish, let me say I want to thank my sponsors. I'll work backwards. King Simon's event coming up on October the 13th, where he gives a ancestral tribute and salute to Baba Dick Gregory. Also, visit Islam about his intellectualpower.net. It is a very serious product. I suggest you get it. When you order it, the code is Lloyd and you get a 10% discount. Miss Kimberly, uh, uh, Manifest on Purpose show that comes on every Monday and Wednesday morning. Nicholas, Brooklyn with Monique and Cafunia's. They're always at the shop. They are my sponsors. But again, I do want to give tribute to this great man that founded Labor Day in Ohio in 1890, and 4 years later in 1894, it became a national holiday. This is the father of Labor Day. Not to take anything from Michael McGuire, the gentleman they assigned to it in 1968, but this is the man, and you can read his biography to prove it. Okay, so I do want to thank everybody. And by the way, let me let you know the September newsletter is out. Whoops, nope, there it is. September newsletter is out. It came out yesterday. So for those of you, the newsletters are absolutely free. We do not sell your mailing list unless I'm advertising something, which I'm doing about the professional online course that I'm teaching this month. It's going to be probably the last one for the year, but this is the written version. For those of you who want to hear the extended version, I suggest that you go to YouTube and type in September 2024 Astronumerology Horoscope, where I deal with all of the signs with Miss Kimberly Williams and myself. I try to make it fun. That's why we laugh, and so it's not that serious. But this is the more serious, professional looking side. And by the way, if you go to the newsletter, you'll see that it be at the end of each of your signs will be a link to plug into the YouTube show and a special timestamp that gives your sign. So whether you're reading by sun sign, reading by moon sign, reading by ascendant sign, you can see it. It's all there. Okay. And by the way, one more thing, Miss Kimberly has also added a weekly wisdom. Now they're seen every Sunday. So all you got to do is go to Kimberly, KIMBALEY.com. That's KIMBALEY.com to see it. So I thank everybody very much. I look forward to Wednesday to see what Jamila has to say. It's a money week. Okay. I got to have on another green. I got a little bit, do that. Everybody, thank you so much. Have a blessed day and take good care of yourselves. Let there be no question.